So we have found another carcass. Looks like a small antelope that's up in a tree. But because it's up in a tree, we know that it's been put there by this beautiful animal. We've managed to find this wonderful big male leopard. And this appears to be Tingana. Wonderful big male, and I know Jamie was in this area yesterday and he hasn't moved too far. It looks like he's finished this carcass. There's very little left of it, but he has found a perfect spot to rest. He's got a big belly. Look how full that belly is. He's fed on a lot, and he's lying in the cool shade of this drainage line where we are at the moment. I'm so glad though that we've got signal down here that we can show him to you. And this is so wonderful. I haven't been able to sit with a leopard in a drainage line for quite some time. I haven't seen one for a while. And for him to be so out in the open and relaxed with us being around, it's really, really fortunate. Oh, look at that. I think the flies are bothering him. There are a lot of flies around here at the moment. And I think that's what's bothering him, exactly that. It's not good. I'm hoping they don't bother him too much that may cause him to move off. I hope he decides to stay here for a while. No, not happy about the flies at all. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful male. You can see that big dewlap under his throat there. And very thick neck. Breathing quite heavily, and the only reason is probably because he's full. And sometimes these big cats, when they feed a lot, their bellies get very, very full, and then they breathe heavily. There's lovely dappled light on him at the moment, and I mean they do blend in very well with their camouflage in this dappled light, but there's a bit of sun coming through just on his face. I think for photography this would be a wonderful, wonderful photographic opportunity. It's a red-chested cuckoo calling behind us at the moment. You can hear that. And I know a lot of you are sending your comments in on how full this male leopard is. And he is indeed very, very full. Now it just shows you how large this male's territory is. I mean, you know, from where I've seen this male leopard to where he is now, and just the bits and pieces I've heard of where he's moving, he's got a very large territory. He's a very successful territorial male. And it's nice to see a big male like this moving around in so many different areas. Now, Cindy, you wanted to find out if it's a possibility to gauge his age, judging by his size. It is, to an extent. But generally, a male leopard will probably reach I'd say it will reach full-grown size at about maybe 5 or 6 years old. I would say, look, maybe when he gets to about 8, he'll probably be in his prime. So it can be a way perhaps to try and gauge the size, but the age, but I don't think it'll be very accurate. What you could potentially look at too is, and this is quite interesting, but occasionally with the ears, and you'll see the older the leopards get, the tips of their ears do get to be a little bit frayed and worn down. Listen, everybody, listen, just off to our left. Sounds like a nyala, alarm calling. Now, I wonder if they didn't walk and see Tingana, but look how it's got his attention, because he wants to know now, what are they all alarm calling at? Is there another leopard in this area that's come to investigate here? Or did they see him? Or did they perhaps just smell him? I'm not sure. It's very, very thick over there. I can't see the nyala at all. I can't see what they have alarm called at. But you can hear they're giving quite a distinct bark. Very interesting. I'm going to keep scanning there, but look how Tingana is watching. This male leopard's very curious now. Why are these Inyala alarm calling? Can't see anything, and they seem to have stopped. I wouldn't be surprised if they just walked through and potentially saw this male leopard lying on the sand. An alarm called at him and ran off. It's amazing how different antelope have different alarm calls, and that bark of the nyala is very distinct, very easily recognizable. The other antelope, of course, with loud barks, 2 of them in fact, the kudu in this area, very loud bark though, much louder than what we just heard, and then the bushbuck. Hang on. What is it? I can see the tail of an inyala, and I think it's very thick through there, everyone. I don't think you're going to really get a good view, but I see the tail flicking of an inyala, and I think all that happened was they spotted this male leopard lying in the sand here, because they seem to be standing there. And usually what they do, and with these antelope, if they do see a predator, they prefer to keep an eye on it. Then the animal can't, or whichever predator it is, loses that element of surprise or the ability to ambush them. So as long as they keep an eye on it, they know where it is, they're not too worried, and they can get away quickly if they have to. You can probably hear all the flies around us at the moment because of that carcass. Oh, it's starting to warm up nicely now. The sun is on us. Oh, look at those eyes. Really, really special to be able to get so close to a male leopard and spend time with them like this. We know how elusive these cats are, but we've been lucky. I mean, with Karula and her cubs, and now this big male leopard. And I'm curious now. Is Tingana, is he the father of Karula's cubs? Supposedly, who knows? I don't know. Fium says, who knows which way the wind blows out here. You never know. I'm not sure if any of our viewers got to see them mating. It would be interesting to know. So if you do know, or if you do have an idea, please let me know. I'm curious. It would make sense if he is the father, because he's the dominant male in this area. But in saying that, there's a beautiful bird, Viam, if you want to just have a look. And Nyala just alarm called again. Now, they're still calling. Now, I was speaking about the Karula and her cubs, and if this is the father. And why I say I'm not too sure. Well, okay, I wasn't here when that female was mating with the male, so I'm not sure who she was mating with. But he is the dominant male leopard in this area, so it would make sense that she would have mated with him. However, I have seen females move out of their territory, even into other females' territories, to go and find a dominant male to mate with. And that's the interesting thing with leopards and their mating. So I'm just having a look at the Zinyala. You can probably hear them calling. So that's with leopards mating. The females are the ones that instigate the mating. They will go and look for a dominant male. So they'll move out of their territory. They'll move through. Those flies are really bothering it. They'll move through other territories to go and look for a dominant male. Star Wish, you want to know if he can run with that full belly, how fast can he run? I'll tell you, this leopard is lightning fast, even with that full belly. If he wanted to, he could cover a distance of about 22 to 24 meters per second on a charge. Now, to give you an idea, let me think, how can I explain that better? So, look, if he got up and charged, the distance we are sitting from him now, he could close that within a second. So, if I had to click, I mean, it'll be a up, boom, and yeah, that quickly. That's how quick it would be. Incredibly fast and still just as agile as if you had an empty stomach. Alright, well, he seems very comfortable in the shade here. We're going to sit with him for some time, see what he gets up to if he does decide to move. Let's head to Brent and get an update. Welcome back, everyone. He's still sitting with Tingana. He hasn't moved too much. Still very comfortable in the shade. And he's very clever. He's got the shade, and we're sitting in the sun a little bit. But look at that carcass. It's covered in flies at the moment. There is still a little bit of meat left there. I mean, I'm sure later on he may try and feed on more of that carcass. It looks like there is still some parts of the legs that he could get some meat, but covered in flies. So I'll try and get most of those away. It's incredible how quickly the flies find these carcasses and go and sit on them. We saw that buffalo too, covered in flies. Can you see the Nyala now? The Nyala's still hanging around. Stopped alarm calling though. And we may get another 1 or 2 calls just now. This male's still panting heavily, just enjoying the cool sand. And I'm very jealous. There's actually nothing better than going and lying in a drainage line and resting. Probably very, very comfortable. It's quite relaxing to be able to sit with an animal like this, and especially on a morning like today. All right, so Sandra, James, and many of our other viewers, you all say that Tingana is believed to be the father of Karula's cubs because she was mating with him, and he has mated with a number of other females in the area, so it would make sense. And like I said, well, I mean, we can never be 100% sure, but if the time frame is correct, if when they were mating, if 3 months later she gave birth, chances are he probably is the father then. Well, yeah, a leopard gestation period is about 90 days, so 3 months, just a few days shorter than lions. Maybe 10 days shorter than a lion gestation period. As I was saying, it's just so peaceful at the moment. Birds calling in the distance, the sun warming everything up, even though the buzz of the flies are behind us, but it's still very peaceful down here in this drainage line and very comfortable. It's interesting to see how the male leopard also constantly looks around. He's still aware and still alert of what's going on around him. Oh, look at that. He is magnificent, isn't he? Really, really magnificent animal. Michael, you want to know what causes his stomach to expand like that after he eats? And do humans have that ability? Michael, I must be honest, I think if you had to see me after a Christmas lunch or a big meal, my belly definitely expands a bit. But I think, no, all that it is it's just full. That's 100% what it is. He's just full. These animals, when they do feed, they gorge themselves on meat. They'll eat as much as they possibly can until they can't eat anymore, and they'll go and rest, and then they will they'll go and feed again later when they're hungry again. But they just constantly feed until those bellies are full. See the same with lions. I've seen male lions where they literally waddle because their bellies are so full. So let's sit at Tingana a little bit longer. Now, we had that Inyala alarm calling not far from us, but Jamie apparently has got them on foot. So we're still sitting with Tingana, this beautiful big male leopard, and we've had such a exciting morning. It's been amazing. All the lions calling this morning, not far from camp, and then finding that male and female, and then Brent finding Karula and her 2 cubs again, and now this big male. So it's definitely been a cat morning for us, which is really, really fortunate, because we know how hard it is to find them at times, and when we are tracking and looking for them, it's not always easy. It's amazing. I've followed and tracked many male leopards in my time guiding, and occasionally, I mean, if they don't want to be seen, it's incredible. They will disappear into a little thicket, and you will not find them. So he's very relaxed with us around here. Hasn't really reacted to us at all. And fortunately, my voice isn't bothering him too much by the looks of things. So maybe he's just too comfortable. His belly's full, cool sand. Red-chested cuckoo just flew over us. You may have heard it. Soraya, the biggest threat to a solitary male leopard would potentially be another leopard, and that's really it. Obviously, they've got to be careful that they don't bump into lions. If lions find a male leopard, or any leopard for that matter, but if they find a male leopard, they'll most likely attack him purely because it's competition, not for food necessarily, but just for competition. However, the biggest threat for a male leopard would probably just be another male leopard coming into the area, challenging for his territory. And I mean, usually what happens is they put on a display. These male leopards, if they do fight, if they do come into contact with another leopard, what they do is they walk up and down, and they try and intimidate one another. So they'll bare their teeth, they'll growl, they'll scent mark, they salivate a lot. So it's a big show to try and intimidate the other one. However, it often does result in an actual fight where they do tackle and bite and scratch one another. And I have seen it before, and it's incredibly violent. But usually one or two tussles are enough to then split them up, and the loser will quickly know that he's not strong enough to compete with the dominant male, and he'll probably move out. But at times you might get an injury that is bad enough to cause death, or bad enough that the leopard's unable to hunt and then dies from starvation. That can happen. It doesn't happen that often, though. Generally, if they do fight, you'll get a few scratches and bites and scars. They'll move off, and then fairly soon they'll heal up quickly. As we've seen with that big male lion Mfumo, one of the Birmingham males, who had that nasty scar on his face and that nasty gash, and that healed up very, very quickly and very well. So these big cats do have the ability to heal amazingly well. But I would say the biggest threat would be another male leopard. There's a cacophony of bird calls going on around us. There's woodland kingfisher. There's a Levaillant cuckoo that just started calling. There's a red-chested cuckoo. There are francolins calling. The blackback puffback. Wonderful to sit and listen to all these birds around us. The fly's still bothering him. Look, he's trying to kick them away. Every now and then the paw comes up and... Oh, now this leopard's lying down, but Jamie's got something that's on the move. Let's go and have a look what it is. Oh dear, oh dear. It sounds like the camera's falling apart in the bushwalk. I wonder what they're up to. But luckily we're still sitting with the leopard, which is just a massive bonus. There's some dung beetles flying around here too. You know that francolin calling. Now, these animals and these cats, and especially this male leopard, look so relaxed and so calm and peaceful, and you'd think you could get out and go and stroke him or pat him, but I guarantee you now you cannot. This leopard would be up in a heartbeat. And you know, leopards in certain areas, and when they do feel threatened, and that they can be potentially very dangerous. They are very powerful cats, and you would not want one to get aggressive towards you or feel threatened, because if they do defend themselves, they are going to cause you some serious damage. I've seen some video clips of leopards harming people, so you do have to still be very careful and respectful. Michael, you want to know why male leopards have that dewlap? So one of the theories that I know and that I can think of is to protect the throat from when they do fight with other leopards, protect the vital areas around the neck and the throat, so that there's a bit of thicker skin there, so if they are bitten around that area, it doesn't harm them as much. Very much like male lions have got those big manes to protect the head and the throat. Alright, I'm going to sit here a few more minutes with Tingana and then probably leave him in peace. But in the meantime, let's head back to Jamie. I think they fixed their camera. So he's moved a little bit, everyone. He's sitting up and he's yawned once or twice. So I'm trying to see, maybe we're lucky we get another yawn and maybe he decides to move. Let's see, he may just change positions, or he may head up to the carcass. I'm not sure when he last fed. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? But I'm not promising anything. Let's just have a look and see what he decides to do. Oh, there we go. So he did stand up just like we thought, and he did move, but a few centimeters, and he's laid down again. Probably just looking for some cool sand again. Oh well, what a wonderful sighting of this male leopard though. It was really, really fantastic spending time with him. It's always special when you get to see these big males. Look at the light on his eyes, those big paws. Basically just a muscular cat. Fantastic. Such a wonderful sight. I'm so glad we got to see him and he was out in the open for us. I think we're going to leave him now, let him rest, and we're going to continue making our way back towards camp and see what else we can find before the end of the show. What a wonderful sighting. Hope you've all enjoyed it with us. Now, why don't we head over to Brent and see if we can get an update from him on those leopards.